Hi, I'm Lisa Marie and welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. Today's video is part of my One and Done series. I'm going to take a crate and barrel shelf and make it my own for much less. So let's get crafting. I found this really cool corner shelf on Crate and Barrel's website for $129. Let's do it for less. If I mention that I bought something at Amazon and it's something that you need too, you will find the link to my Amazon store down in my description box and you can get it from there. I'm going to be using my Kills White primer paint and this sign that I got from Dollar Tree. First thing I'm going to do is take off the tag, and then I'm going to turn the sign over, and I have this awesome tool from Amazon that makes it so easy to remove staples, and I'm going to go ahead and remove those and take the little hanger off because I don't need it. Then I'm going to take my square and another little ruler, and I'm going to figure out exactly how to cut the line diagonally across because I want the two pieces to be equal. I'm going to use a blade and just keep scoring over it until it's worn down enough for me to bend it in half, and then I can cut the rest of it all the way through. And the reason I'm doing this is that I need a triangle piece for this shelf, and this is going to be a perfect thickness by putting the two pieces together. I'm going to sand the edges. And of course that made a mess, so I'm going to use my little ladybug tool from Amazon and vacuum it up, which I love that thing. Then I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm going to put it on what used to be the front. I removed the paper, and then I'm going to put them together so all that you see now are the back sides. Now I'm going to take that white primer and I'm going to use a foam brush and I'm just going to put it on all in one direction so you see what it looks like, kind of grain. Use my heat tool to dry it. I'm going to do the same thing to both sides, and I'm also going to paint around the edges. And then I'm going to use a combination of warm buff and burnt umber. I'm going to mix them together, and then I'm going to add a little bit of pumpkin by Waverly, the chalk paint, and I'm trying to get this really kind of warm wood look like the picture had. So after mixing them together, I'm going to put this on, again, all in the same direction to give it a wood grain kind of a look. I'm going to end up doing 2 coats to get it dark enough, and of course I'm going to do this to the back and the sides as well. And then I'm going to take a kind of a stiff chippy brush and just go across it and try to make those grain lines look more real. Originally I was going to use these painter sticks, and I ended up switching to the very thick dowels that I have. And I honestly can't remember if I got those at Dollar Tree or Walmart. Either way, I'm using my miter shears from Amazon to go ahead and cut them to fit that length of the base of the triangle, or at least the bottom part you see there. And I'm going to end up doubling it up. I'm going to take all the skewers that I'm going to use and I'm going to put them in some foam and just paint them all with the ink chalk paint from Waverly. I'm going to take 2 of the skewers that I measured out already to fit that long side of the triangle. I'm going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue to attach it. And like I said before, I am going to double up. I'm going to wipe away some of that excess so it doesn't get everywhere. And hopefully this will keep it in place. If I had really good power tools, I could have cut those thicker paint sticks, but I don't. So that's why I ended up using the dowels. And it's not my first choice, but it does end up looking nice. Now I'm just kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to end up positioning those side pieces. It's really tricky. I've got the one that is going to be supporting the very middle of the triangle. And like I said, I'm doubling all of them up just to give them a little more thickness like the picture had. This was the hardest part. I had to use jars of paint and different things to kind of position it, and you'll see me using my level a lot to keep this in place. It was very tricky because of how it rests right on the point of that triangle. I'm going to touch up where the hot glue might be with some of my black paint. And now back to positioning the shelf. Like I said, I'm using paint jars, my level, and I have to do this back and forth, back and forth. This was literally the trickiest part. And I'm going to do some hot glue, and I don't think you see me doing it, but I also added some E6000, whatever I could find to make this secure. And I just kept adding more, peeling off excess, using the level to check it. This was the most challenging part, no question about it. It's not like anything else was difficult. This was just challenging. So then I flipped it over, did the same thing. I decided that that very back piece needed to be thicker, so I'm going to take my tumbling tower blocks and I'm going to paint them all in the ink paint, and then I'm going to hot glue them to the lower and the upper portion of that skewer that's supporting the point of the triangle, and that really helps support the shelf, and it looks nicer too. So I'm glad that I came up with that idea, even though, like I said, if I'd only had power tools, I would have definitely done the wider paint sticks. Now I'm going to place all those blocks on there just to make sure I know how many I need and paint the next set, and then I will go ahead and hot glue them all right to the skewers. And then I'm going to flip it over to the other side there and do the bottom or the top, whichever way you look at it, as well. I'm going to add a little bit more hot glue on both sides just to reinforce where the tumbling tower block meets the shelf itself. And of course, I'm constantly checking to see that it's level and just like I said, making sure that it is as secure as possible because it looks so precarious the way it's sitting there. Now I'm going to take those doubled up skewers that I cut and measured to go from one edge of the shelf to the top and one edge of the shelf to the bottom. Now I accidentally did it backwards from the picture, but it really doesn't matter and I think it looks good either way. But I just hot glued those and they really aren't holding any weight, so it's okay to just use hot glue on those. I really love how this turned out and I have a perfect place to put it. And I'll tell you, I do like a good challenge. And literally this one only cost me $3 plus paint and glue. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And this is one and done. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy that you were here and I can't wait to see you in my next video. I appreciate the time that you take to watch my videos. It means so much. And remember, you are a blessing to me.